What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. Now, a lot of you brothers have been emailing me about this whole Kwame Brown fiasco, and you guys know that this one took a lot of research, man. I'm in class like 8 to 6 every day. I'm studying all day. Like, I'm really busy. So busy that I had to cut down all my collaborations. Like, I'm not doing any collaborations with anybody right now because I'm just so stressed for time. But this one seemed to be a pretty important topic. And Kwame Brown came out in the 2001 NBA draft. Okay. And at the time, Michael Jordan had come back, with his second retirement to play for the Wizards. Now, on that team, you had people like Richard Hamilton. I believe Jerry Stackhouse was still there. But what happened was Kwame Brown, when he was in high school in Brunswick, Georgia, he was slim, okay? Athletic, he could move around. I guess you could say something similar to Kevin Garnett. But one of the things that I remember that happened is that when he got drafted by the Wizards and Jordan, I believe Jordan was like part owner or general manager time. I don't know which one he was, but Jordan drafted Kwame, and then they put a lot of muscle on him. Okay, I think that really changed his game a lot. But then also for the fact that his confidence was destroyed by Michael Jordan. And once that happened, his performance, he lost confidence, and he's probably labeled as the biggest bust in NBA history. Okay, if not one of the biggest. But let's kind of go to where we are now. There is the Up in Smoke podcast, right? Where you have Steven Jackson, and you have Matt Barnes. Now, Matt Barnes, I know him because he's from Sacramento. He went to Del Campo High School, so I do know about him. And then they had Gilbert Arenas, right? All the Smoke podcast, rather. And Gilbert Arenas came on. And Gilbert Arenas was talking about his time with the Washington Wizards, which he performed very well. I mean, he was like in the second round. Nobody thought that he was going to be able to be anything. And he did. He actually ended up being a very good basketball player until he started, doing stupid stuff, going to jail, just doing, the Negro type of thing, right? And what he did was he referred to Brown as a man-child and a show pony. Okay, that basically he had lost his confidence by the time he came back to the team. And, I don't even know why they were talking about him. Okay, but I guess Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes also have something to say. But let me just say this. Arenas' comments is what really kicked it off. Okay, and Kwame Brown, just like some of the other busts, in sports histories, these guys didn't, do very well, like Jamarcus Russell, but they don't hurt nobody. They just living their life, and they're always the butts of people's jokes. Kwame Brown is kind of tired of being the butts of people's jokes, so he shot back. He told, Stephen A. Smith got into it, and he said that the white man sent Stephen A. Smith to him, and it seems like Kwame Brown watched the podcast. Kwame Brown's actually quite funny. And in pro-black, Jamel Hill, he said that the white man sent her, like, he's very respectful. But what this comes out as, in my opinion, and he called, Matt Barnes, Becky with a good hair. Now Matt Barnes wants to fight him and all this other stuff. Told Stephen A. Jackson to pull his pants up and things like that. What we're dealing with really is the destruction of the confidence of a young black man. All right, that's what happens. And that man at 19 was never able to recover. That's what Kwame Brown. Now he's, a millionaire now, and he's doing pretty good. But I want to talk about this from a black male perspective, because you have a lot of black men that have the ability to do great things. But then when you get around the wrong brothers, the wrong people, a lot of black men's confidence can get ruined. And a lot of times what we're seeing in the black male communities is a lot of brothers just like Kwame Brown, which they had the potential to do something great, but they lost confidence in themselves. And so what they do is, to respond to that hurt, to respond to those problems, they lash out. Kwame Brown also was talking about how Gilbert Arenas talked about he also had problems, and Gilbert Arenas had gun charges, was getting arrested all the time, and wanting to be a pimp and all these other things. But you're dealing with all these black men that come from messed up black backgrounds. All right. And what we need to also look at, man, as black men in America, a lot of our brothers have a lot of talent. Okay. A lot of talent. Okay. A lot of talent. But we have to be able to understand how to deal with our brothers. Because I think Kobe Bryant was very similar to Jordan. Every brother can't take, a certain type of style. Even Jerry Stackhouse didn't want to play with Michael Jordan. Richard Hamilton said he hated playing with Michael Jordan. But a young kid, and sometimes how you develop in life is where you go. I mean, you see a lot of times in the NFL. How good is this quarterback going to be? Depends on what team he goes to. Depends on how the organizations groom him. Young black men are no different. If we do not groom our young black men to be somebody, they'll lose their potential, just like Kwame Brown did it. And then what happens is once they lose their potential, it's a woulda, coulda, shoulda. And then you have all this hurt, you have all this pain. And if you look at Kwame Brown and his channel now, which I do like and I'm gonna subscribe, he is very he's very pro-black, right? And he says things that are unorthodox because he don't really believe in the system. He feels like guys like Gilbert Arenas, guys like Matt Brown, Steven Jackson. These are guys that white folks put out on the camera to make black men look weak. Jamel Hill, which I don't disagree with him at all. But what I'm saying is we need to develop our own people so that this sort of thing don't happen. Because there are a lot of Kwame Browns out in black America that we just can't take advantage of their talent. And, I salute Kwame Brown. I mean, he played 13 years in the NBA, the brother has to deal with the fact that, he is going to grow down as the greatest bust of all time. But I think that the man had the wrong situation. The Wizards were a terrible organization. They're a terrible franchise. They still are a terrible franchise. Now they did have a few playoff runs, when Gilbert Arenas was there, but there was never any contenders. And so, young black men, no matter how much talent, you're only as good as your resources. You need the right resources to develop. Black men need the right resources to develop, and a lack of development of that leads to situations like what we see with Kwame Brown. And that's my take on it. I hope he, also is partly accountable, for his own career, but at the same time, I think that a lot of guys need to let the guy live. He played, might not have been the best person or whatever. He talked about, some of the things about Steven Jackson when he played on Charlotte and how he quit on the team and all this other stuff. But, it's kind of a big mess, guys. So what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe with the bell, check out the first comment at the top. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I am out.